on, man? Oh, there he is. What's up, Mike?
Oh,
Hey,
can you hear me?
buddy.
Hey, what's going on?
I can hear you, yeah. How are you?
All right, good.
Oh, I should
I'm
put my
good. Who are you?
Gotta get some good audio going. I'm good. So I've got coffee, which is a win this week.
Same here.
Look at you. Little Starbucks action. Can't beat
Yeah.
it.
No, can't live without it.
And it was a nightmare, but I got my coffee, so I'm happy.
Good.
It was one of those, like, I walked in, I did like the mobile order thing, and I walked in and it like wasn't done. And
God forbid we had to wait for our coffee, right?
It's ridiculous. There's a reason I mobile ordered it. But then I got it and it was, it wasn't right, and I feel like, man. But then, like, what do I got to complain about, right? Life's not that bad.
It's not that bad, and we will find a reason to complain. Like, we have to wait 2 minutes for our first world coffee. Like, it's
I know.
a bad problem.
I'm like, oh, I was all stressed out about not getting my coffee in time because I got to get to the store, I got to record the podcast, blah 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 blah.
Stress.
I was stressed, but then it's like, seriously, come on, I got food,
put it all into perspective.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about stress. All right, it's
Okay.
one of the things that a lot of people are dealing with these days, given the current pandemic situation. And then I know as a runner, when I'm stressed about, say, a race or something, it usually doesn't go very well. But I also know that sometimes stress can be a good thing. As a runner, you're essentially like stressing your body to make it perform better eventually, right?
Exactly.
So maybe I'm trying to think. I want to not make this too much of like a downer,
Yeah, I know. We'll try to keep the topic of stress as light as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
welcome to my world.
Right. So we do talk. Well, like, stress can be a good thing, right?
It can be, yes. So there's two types of stress. If you look at the medical science definition of it, there's eustress, EU stress, and distress. So eustress is something that's positive, and distress is something a negative stress to the body. So you mentioned working out. Like, working out, we're adding stress to the body, but we're using stress to build our physiology. We're trying to improve cardiovascular output. We're trying to improve strength, improve range of motion, improve resiliency, improve tensile strength of tendons and ligaments. Like, everything we do in exercise and running, if it's dosed at a proper level, it's a good stress, and that increases the resiliency of our body. So there's a law in biology called Wolff's Law, that when the body is under stress, it'll lay down more tissue to increase the strength of that tissue to withstand that stress. So that's how we get stronger. You build strong bones, the more weight you can lift, you build stronger bones. So you build more tension and tendons. But then there's a point when physical stress can become negative, when it's too much, too fast, too quick, too hard, and then that leads to injury and breakdown and other things.
Right. Case of the tutus, as you like to say.
The tutus, yes.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do remember the tutus.
Yeah.
So that is, like, you can get to, there's like kind of like a curve, I would imagine, right? So you have like you have a good amount of stress on your body, and then you get to the peak and you're like, okay, and then it starts to get like negative because you're putting too much stress on it.
You get it.
Yeah, I found too, like, so it's interesting. Remember I was telling you about that Whoop strap thing that I got? Well, I got it. So I got it. I put it on my wrist.
Cool.
Now it like tracks my heart rate all the time. And instead of counting like steps or whatever, it tracks your strain and then your like recovery and your sleep. So what I find interesting is the like balance that you kind of have to strike when you are stressing your body with the sleep and the recovery like as I get older, I can't just go and run every day 12 miles and like function as a normal human. I've got
Yeah.
to recover. I've got to recover from that stress. Um,
Yeah.
so,
And that's normal, by the way.
yeah,
We can't deny the aging process. So we do require a little more recovery, a little more prep work. It's like going out and jumping in your Tesla. You can just hit the button and go. But if you got your 69 Ford Mustang that you've got,
yeah,
you got to do a little prep work. You got to pump the gas a little bit, get the gases flowing, get the engine going, let it warm up. So those responses to physical stress are normal, and we just need to acknowledge that as we get older. I'm actually going to be doing
mhm,
very soon a webinar on like kind of running through the ages and what we as I hate using the term middle age. I got to come up with a better term than middle age, but how do we get through it and
yeah,
things we need to do to kind of withstand that? What's the extra work that we need to do, and how can we keep ourselves, enjoying running, maybe even improving or at least maintaining where we are?
yeah, yeah. 'Cause I find I've just like I've had to shift my goals. That's all for me.
Yeah,
Like and do the other
paradigm
things
shift,
that I never did before.
right?
Can we talk a little bit about, say, that other kind of stress, the more like mental, like have to get to work on time, can't wait
Yeah,
2 minutes for my coffee kind of stress, um,
yeah, that kind of stress.
and how like that can affect your body?
Yeah.
Because like I've
So
been in situations where like I have a race and I have to get amped up and I'm all nervous and that nervous energy has a negative effect on my performance. But what
yeah.
are those stresses actually doing to me?
So the stresses that we encounter on a daily basis, like a slow internet signal, right? Or your
Yeah.
computer, you need to reboot your computer, you need to wait more than 2 minutes in line at Starbucks. Like all these pretty benign stresses, our body responds to them as stress, right? And it's like a fight
Mhm.
or flight. Like we were only generations years ago when we were like being chased by woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. The stress was being chased by an animal and you wanted to not die. So you had this physiologic response where it's like they call it the fight or flight, right? The unfortunate part is your body doesn't know the
Mhm.
difference between the stress of a poor internet connection and being chased by a woolly mammoth. So you have the same type
Man.
of physiologic response where you get, you know, the dilation, your blood vessels change, your heart rate gets up, your blood pressure goes up, and you're ready for you're ready for anything. And we get that in this modern age in slow doses all day long, right? So this is just on like
Hmm.
normal work days, normal family life. Um, then you throw in a worldwide pandemic, right? And
Yeah.
social isolation and the possible fear of
Hmm.
losing a job or not having an income or not being able to pay your rent and all these extra stresses that the past year we're dealing with, it's affecting us
Hmm.
big time mentally and emotionally. So that's an obvious one. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
take a scientist or a medical professional to realize that, and it's all over the news more and more and more. On a simple term for our conversation, like with the runners who are listening, that's going to affect your running. Like if you're already kind of broken
Hmm.
down, already been through these fight or flight, and you're constantly in that stressed or anxious or even depressed mood, that's going to affect mindset. It's going to affect um, just your mental resiliency, but that's also going to
Hmm.
show itself in physical resiliency. So if you're already kind of breaking down from the stress we're under, and now you throw a workout on
Hmm.
top of it, you're going to be more likely to get hurt. You're going to be more likely to get sick. So
Yep.
I think I answered your question somewhere in there. I went off on a little tangent.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like physiologically, it actually can increase your heart rate, right, and get you like really amped up. And then like
Yeah.
if you sustain that constant stress period, like you were saying, like throughout the day, you're constantly like, I'm gonna get eaten by a woolly mammoth. Then you're I can see how it can like weaken your immune system and make you less like
Exactly.
resilient if you're say you're you're super tense, I imagine it makes your muscles tighter and kind of like doesn't allow them to perform as good as they could otherwise. Um, and
Exactly.
given given that we are in a global pandemic, the fact that being so stressed can affect your immune system is probably one good reason to like try to figure out how to like just decompress a little bit and maybe not get so
Yeah.
worked up because
Right.
waiting in line for Starbucks for 2 minutes not the same as getting chased by a woolly mammoth or a saber-toothed
No.
tiger. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to have to like tell my body that, but I have to because it doesn't realize that, you know?
Right. Yeah. And
So
just to
how
backtrack,
can I like
I
make
want to backtrack a second. I don't know if woolly mammoths
sure,
actually
sure.
eat. I don't know if woolly mammoths actually eat humans, or if they did.
Oh
But
yeah,
some big
that's
scary
true. We
animal. I think the
should
saber-toothed tiger.
let's see.
I think.
Yeah, yeah. Caveat: we are
Right.
not anthropology majors
No.
or like, I have
And
no idea what woolly mammoths eat.
I don't either. And I think they're real animals, right? Ice Age in the movie Ice Age, they're in there, so I think they're real.
Yeah, did you know what surprised me? Sidetrack, digression. I'd substitute teach sometimes, and I was like reading a book, and
Hmm.
it mentioned the narwhal,
Yeah.
and I had no idea that was an actual thing. I just thought
I
it was
didn't
like a
either.
goofy animal that was an elf. Like I saw it
Yeah.
in the movie Elf, and I was like, oh, it must be just like some fake thing. It's an actual
Like a
animal.
unicorn, like a like a fictitious animal.
It's like unicorn fish. Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's a
but
it's a real thing.
it's a real thing.
All right, so
So yeah,
we're talking about how to handle stress, right?
let's get back on track here. Yes,
All
how do
right,
we
back on
handle
track.
this stuff? So like
All
I
right,
know
so
like you can mitigate the stress a little bit somehow.
yeah,
How?
yes, there's many different strategies you can do, and I've got to just because I'm working in the medical field, I got to just say like if there's people out there listening, the advice I'm giving is not going to replace sound medical advice from doctor or psychologist or whatever, because this is really general terms that we're talking. But the people who are listening are most
Mm,
likely runners. So they've already checked one box of getting in their physical activity and exercise, which helps dissipate mental, emotional
mm,
stress, right? So that is awesome. So we can almost
yeah,
not have to
yeah.
talk about too much of that with this audience, I'm assuming. But
Hmm.
then we goes back into some other topics. Okay, what else can you do? Um, Mindful-based strategies have been proven time and time again to be helpful, like meditation. Right? There's such
Hmm. Yeah.
simple ways you can do it. It's not like sitting in a lotus position for an hour, humming and eyes closed. And I mean, you can be mindful and do meditations in little 5-minute blocks throughout your day. You can do it sitting in your car. You
Hmm.
can do it sitting at the store. You can do it anywhere. And there's great apps that can help get people started. But
Hmm.
there's
Yeah,
time
I
and
have one
time
on my
again that
phone.
which one do
So
you use?
I use Headspace, which is super helpful.
Yeah,
So like I'll use it just like you said, just in like 5 minute like blocks. Maybe I'm early for work and I need to just hang out. So I'll hang out in the
right.
car for an extra 5 minutes and just meditate a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a great use of your 5 minutes. You know what most people do if they have 5 minutes in the car?
Check
What do you do?
Twitter.
Right.
Mm,
They're going on to social media, right? And you see it all the
mhm.
time. Like I've never seen more people in cars in a parking lot doing this than I have the past 5 to 10 years. You know,
Right.
which is a
Well, you'll
whole
see
other
me doing
topic. I
this.
mean,
That's what you see me doing.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's better use of your time because you're actually doing something to help mitigate the stress. You're practicing mindfulness, which is very helpful for overall health. Your stress levels will go down. You might not be cognizant of it right there and then, like, oh, like 5 minutes. Hey, I feel great. My blood pressure is less. My heart rate came down. My muscles are relaxed. You might not be aware of it, but these things are happening. Even when you
Hmm.
fail in trying to meditate or be mindful, like your mind wanders and you got to bring yourself back. People say I can't do it, but just the fact that you're practicing is helpful.
Hmm.
I'm pretty fortunate that my wife is a meditation coach and she's taken advanced training and has helped me with my practice. So I started with Headspace, and then she got trained, and she does it on a regular basis, and she helps me, which is awesome. So I try to pass along what I learned from her and to my clients. All right, so physical activity, some mindfulness-based strategy is great, and there's programs everywhere. Locally here, Brown University has a mindfulness-based health programs that you can get involved with. John Kabat-Zinn, who's like the king of meditation and mindfulness, who was up in the Boston area, has participated. He's down here working with the guys at Brown. So there's a lot of good programs if you guys are in New England to tap into. So that's the second one, very, very important. And then we talk about this probably every week, almost as much as we talk about foam rolling, but it's sleep. Right?
Dude, sleep, man. Sleep.
It's so,
I need that.
It's so flipping important for so many things. And I can't stress that enough, right? But so here, think about the vicious cycle. You're stressed and anxious. You can't go to sleep. You jump on your phone and check social media. It excites your brain cells. You're stressed from what you might be seeing on social media, or you're just they get you so addicted to it that you just keep scrolling through, and it's this vicious cycle. Before you know it, your neurons in your brain are fired up like they're on caffeine because you've been on social media for 2 hours while you're supposed to be sleeping. You can't get rest, so you're sleepless. So the next day you start it again. It's a vicious cycle, and there's an absolute connection between internet addiction and social media use, depression, anxiety, and stress, and sleeplessness. They go together. So it's almost impossible to address one without affecting all of them in a negative or a positive way.
Got it. They're all like interconnected, huh? It's like three peas in a pod. Right?
Yeah. Something like that.
Three peas in a pod. Oh, stuck together.
Yeah.
So we gotta sleep. We gotta exercise a little bit. Gotta be mindful. One thing that I feel like gets lost, especially now because there's a pandemic. Like I always feel like connecting with other human beings and talking to them about maybe some of the things you're stressed about is
big time.
Like a good thing that could help get that stress level down a little bit, because everybody goes through it, and it's nice to kind of commiserate.
Yeah, there's proof in that, in our social connections, our relationships, how important that is in mental and emotional health, which again will transfer into overall physical health. We can't separate them. For years, in medicine we've kept all these different aspects of health in silos separately, but it's all interconnected. Have you ever heard of the blue zones? Did we talk about that ever yet?
I don't think so, no.
So blue zones, I think there's 6. There might be a 7th area of the world where people just don't die. It's like the happiest, oldest, most longevity ridden societies in the world. And there's different parts, and you can find out where they are. There's only one in this country. It's in Loma Linda, California. But there's like Sardinia in Greece, Okinawa, Japan. There's all these different ones. They have a couple of things in common. So these people are living into their 90s and 100s, healthy and happy. One thing that they all have in common, there's a few, but one of the major things they all have in common is social connection. They have a sense of community, and they're out, they meet each other for coffee, they kind of work together, they help each other out in the community, they go for walks together, they farm together, they do all these things, and it's that social connection that they have, which a lot of parts of the world don't have normal. Everyone. And it's affecting all of us, and we're seeing the rises in these stress and depression, anxiety, suicide, all these things are going up. Such a bummer of a topic, but it's extremely important, and I'm glad you brought that up. So as much as we can, being safe because of COVID, we want to be as interactive and socially connected as we can.
Yeah, totally. And I know that with my wife and I, we've kind of had to work at it a little bit to kind of keep our circle small, but still like keep a circle, so you're not like just in your house by yourself, depressed and stressed out about getting COVID and all that,
Yeah, and it's happening. So many people I talk to, they're like, you ask how they're doing, even if they've got families and loved ones around, but they're still isolated within that just family unit. So many people right now, they're just like, I'm just dragging, man. I'm just like, I hope the summer's gonna help. Hopefully the numbers go down. Hopefully I'll get vaccinated. Like people are just like, who's that character from Winnie the Pooh? Eeyore, the really
Eeyore,
depressed
man.
donkey. Yeah, everyone. I feel like Eeyore. He is a bummer. He'd be more like Tigger.
Yeah, we gotta all be more like Tigger. I totally agree.
Right.
Yeah, Eeyore's a bummer. One thing that I find helps me anyway when I have like something that's stressing me out is like just acknowledging the actual thing that is stressing me out, and sometimes doing that puts it into perspective for me anyway.
Yeah.
So like
awesome.
my 2-minute wait at Starbucks, if I'm like all hyped up, like I'm gonna miss recording the podcast with Ray. Oh my God, that's the end of the world. If I just like say that out loud or like in my brain, I'm like, that sounds ridiculous.
Right? That's a great strategy. So if you don't have the person there to bounce it off of so they can tell you you're ridiculous, just say it out loud and listen to yourself.
Yeah, you just listen to yourself, and sometimes you sound ridiculous, and you're like, it's not the end of the world, I'll get my coffee in 2 minutes. Not the end of the world.
Right. It's not, man.
Right. Cool. So is there anything else you want to add about stress here before we wrap this sucker up? I actually have some, what do they call them? Zapalas that I got to go eat.
Whoa, nice.
Our good friend Brian Patrick Mulligan went by LaSalle Bakery and brought some by. Right. Is this
isn't this some sort of Italy day or something today? And it's common to get them today.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're here.
Is it? Yeah, is it St. Patrick's Day yesterday? Is it St. Joseph's Day or something?
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Awesome. Well,
I'm putting that.
You go enjoy that. Yeah, put it on the board. So that the Zapalas will help decrease your stress. So go enjoy that.
Oh, dude, totally. But yeah, so thank you for chatting with me here, Mike. And thank you for everybody who tuned in. And
thank you.
I think next week we gotta do this again. What do you think? You want to do it again?
Coffee talk. Yeah, let's do it again. You know what we should do for fun one of these times?
All right, cool.
One of these times we have to do do you ever see like the dad joke challenge where two dads go face to face and they just tell really corny dad jokes and you try to not laugh, and like if you make the other person laugh, you get a point. We should do that one time. That'd be fun because I'm full of corny dad jokes. We'll do that another time. Fun.
All right,
man.
All right, cool. Let's do that.
See you, everybody.
I have to brush up. I'm like a new dad, so like I don't have it. But yeah, take care. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Have a
Bye, everybody.
Day. Bye.